Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be reacting to
The Greek impact on everything.
In this video, I'm going to talk about an ancient language that's had an impact on pretty much the entire world. You probably use words from this language constantly without even realizing it. That language is Greek, which has been leaving its mark on languages around the globe for almost 3,000 years through conquests and commerce, scholarly and sacred texts, and cultural prestige. Alpha, beta. These are the first two letters of the Greek alphabet, and they're also the source of the word alphabet. The Latin alphabet, which is used for English and many modern languages, developed from the Etruscan alphabet, which developed from the Greek alphabet used in Cumae, the first Greek colony in Italy in the 8th century BC. This colony was the beginning of Magna Graecia, which means Great Greece in Latin. They had an influence on the languages of their neighbors and on Latin as the region.
Interesting that it. Well, hold up. Find it first so I don't sound stupid when I say what I want to say.
what you gonna say?
No, I'm trying to see where is this Great Greece.
They pointed to it.
So all these colors are just different regions of Great Greece, I guess. I
I
think
thought they pointed over here by Campania. Go back.
by company. Okay, yeah, that's what I was. So okay, it's not silly what I want to say. No, I wonder how come it's on this side of Italy and not next to Greece.
Yeah.
Because to me, naturally, it would be okay. You just get across the pond, and oh, there you go. That now we here, but they went all the way around to go there. That's interesting.
Became absorbed by the Roman Republic. The Greek alphabet itself developed from the Phoenician script, but that wasn't exactly an alphabet. It was an abjad, meaning that the letters mainly represented consonants. The vowels weren't fully written, but the Greeks developed it into an alphabet that fully represented vowels. While the Romans were slowly encroaching on southern Italy and the city-states of Magna Graecia, Alexander the Great's conquests were expanding his empire and spreading the Greek language over a wide area to the east. It began to be spoken alongside many languages throughout the empire, like Aramaic and Persian, which I'll talk more about later, and it became the new lingua franca. The form of Greek that became widely spoken was Koine Greek. Actually, it's not Koine, it's Kini. I get this comment all the time. English words of Greek origin almost never use modern Greek pronunciation. In this case, the pronunciation Koine is based on the original ancient Greek pronunciation Koine. In later stages of Greek, the pronunciation evolved, including the merging of these vowel sounds with the vowel E. Some English words of Greek origin are based on ancient pronunciation, but in general, their pronunciation is influenced by English, French, or Latin phonology, so they sound quite different from modern Greek. Koine Greek continued as the common language across Alexander's eastern territories, even after his empire splintered into several Hellenistic kingdoms, all of which were deeply influenced by Greek civilization. Eventually, these Greek-speaking regions came under the control of a new
God damn.
Yeah,
God damn.
Oh, they surrounded a lot.
They said we own the world.
Wow.
Well, that was the world back then. Wow.
power, the Roman Empire, as it expanded eastward. But instead of replacing Greek culture, Rome often embraced it. Latin became the official language of the empire, but Greek remained widely spoken, especially in the eastern provinces. Educated Romans often learned Greek, and the Roman elite admired Greek culture even as they ruled over it. This admiration led to the adoption of Greek words into Latin, and through Latin they spread into many European languages. A few examples. Latin musica came from ancient Greek musicae. This word continues on in every Romance language, including French, musique, which was borrowed into English as music. And most European languages have a form of this word, either directly from Latin or through another language. Latin theatrum, meaning theater, came from ancient Greek theatron, which meant a place for viewing. Again, it lives on in
You think he's Greek? He knows a lot.
I don't know.
Romance languages, like in Spanish,
I
teatro,
thought he
and
could be from Latvia.
What? Why
Yeah, but
Latvia?
when you see him,
Such a
when you see
random
him,
guess.
he reminds me more from Latvia.
French, théâtre, the source of the English word theater and its equivalent in other Germanic languages, as well as the Russian word théâtre, and so on. Notice how many of these words entered English from French, especially Norman French, rather than from Latin itself. Latin mathematica, from ancient
I don't
Greek
think he's
mathematikos. Latin philosophia, from
Do you
ancient
know
Greek
something I don't know?
philosophia.
What's his name?
The channel is called Lang Focus, I think. So just
He doesn't say his name.
Lang Focus, yeah. I don't know his name.
I don't think he's
Latin
Greek.
tyrannus, from ancient Greek tyrannos, meaning absolute ruler or tyrant. My 3-year-old son uses this Greek word every day, in the form of Tyrannosaurus, a combination of tyrannos and sauros, meaning lizard. Latin zona, from ancient Greek zdone, meaning a belt or sash. This has developed into the English word zone and numerous
What's interesting is all the words he gave right in these examples so far have been the same in Lithuanian too.
They're the same in Lithuanian too? Wow.
as others.
Well, not like the same. The ending might be different, but it's the same root.
We'll continue in just a moment, but first I want to give a shout out to the sponsor of today's video, me. I want to tell you about LangFocus channel. The new Western spoken variety felling the join button, which is next to the subscribe button, crucial throughout medieval Europe. Not only its evolving spoken
Nah, he's Canadian. Out. He said
Oh.
throughout.
varieties, but also standardized written Latin, which remained the language of scholarship, law, and the church. Greek words continued to make their way into Latin. Most educated Europeans read Latin and not Greek, so Greek ideas and vocabulary often reached them through Latin translations, some ancient and some new. Some of these words were of a religious nature, since Latin was the language of the Catholic Church. For example, Latin psalmus, from ancient Greek psalmos, meaning
But he's
plucking
not
of the harp or a
Canadian,
song
he's
played
from
on the harp.
somewhere.
Yes, he's not Native American. You're right. In that, you're right about that.
This is the source of English psalm, referring to a sacred song, like the one in the Book of Psalms in the Bible. Latin hierarchia, from ancient Greek hierarchia, meaning rule of a high priest. This exists in English as hierarchy. Latin apostasia, from ancient Greek apostasia, meaning defection or revolt. This is the source of English apostasy, meaning the renunciation of
Okay, this is the first word that we don't have. That not Lithuanian. We don't have this word in Lithuanian. I don't even know what it means in English. Well, apparently defection and revolt. I'd never heard this word.
Here is it in English.
No, I understand, but it says the definition of defection and revolt. So apostasy. I've never heard apostasy in English either. I wouldn't know what that meant, but yeah.
your religious
Then maybe we have like official term in Lithuanian too.
Probably. I think
Apostasia.
you should double check.
I just never heard this word before.
beliefs. But scholarly vocabulary was just as important, because as European thinkers engaged with Greek philosophy, science, and medicine, they adopted words that came with the ideas. For example, Latin anatomia, from ancient Greek anatomia, meaning dissection. Latin therapia, from ancient Greek therapeia, meaning treatment. Other words already existed in Latin, but became much more widely used. Latin logicus, from ancient Greek logikos. This is the source of English logic via French logique. Latin physica, from ancient Greek psyche. This is the source of the English word physics and its many equivalents. Latin astronomia,
Polish? Go back,
from
let me
ancient
see the Polish.
This is the source of
Physical.
Um,
Lithuanian is exactly the same as Latvian.
the English word physics and its many equivalents. Latin astronomia, from ancient Greek astronomia. This is the source of the English word
I feel
astronomy.
like he showed astronomy.
Remember,
already.
during this time, Latin was the international language of the educated class in Europe, so words like these continue to spread far and wide beyond Latin. During this time, Latin was not the only gateway for Greek words into other languages. In the 9th century, the Byzantine missionaries Cyril and Methodius created a standardized form of Slavic language called Old Church Slavonic, based on spoken Slavic dialects, to help spread Christianity among the Slavic peoples. That standardized form of Slavic language became the liturgical and literary basis for many Slavic languages, and along with it came a stream of Greek vocabulary. As missionaries under the Byzantine Empire, Cyril and Methodius were fluent in Greek.
It's interesting in those paintings, their eyes are
Stream of Greek
like
vocabulary.
there's no eyes.
As missionaries
You see that?
Oh.
That's interesting. I wonder how come.
There's a reason for that.
There's definitely a reason for that. I just wonder how come.
under the Byzantine Empire, Cyril and Methodius were fluent in Greek and were from Thessalonica, where Greeks lived adjacent to Slavic populations. They based Old Church Slavonic on the Slavic dialects spoken there, which probably already had some Greek influence. But one of the main purposes of Old Church Slavonic was to translate religious texts from Greek, and in the process, many Greek words were borrowed. Just like Latin transmitted Greek words into many languages of Europe, Old Church Slavonic transmitted Greek words into Slavic languages, and into other languages spoken nearby. For example, Old Church Slavonic, angel, from ancient Greek, angelos. This is the source of Russian, angel, Bulgarian, angel, and others. But it's worth noting that Slavic languages also got words of Greek origin from Latin, or from other European languages that got them from Latin, so not just from Old Church Slavonic. Cyril and Methodius created an original script called the Glagolitic script for Old Church Slavonic, but their Bulgarian disciples created the Cyrillic script, with letters modeled after Greek capital letters. So the Cyrillic script that most Slavic languages are written in today was also inspired by Greek.
Ah, that's why I said before that some of the letters are the same like in Russian.
Oh.
While Old Church Slavonic was carrying Greek words into medieval Slavic lands, Western Europe was about to experience a dramatic revival of classical learning during the Renaissance period. The Renaissance brought a renewed passion for ancient Greek and Roman knowledge. Unlike medieval scholars who mainly experienced Greek texts through Latin translations, Renaissance humanists wanted to read Greek texts in their original language. Greek scholarship flourished as Byzantine scholars fled west after the fall of Constantinople in 1453, bringing manuscripts and linguistic expertise with them. This direct engagement with Greek led to a fresh wave of Greek-derived vocabulary entering European languages. For example, the English word misogynist came directly from ancient Greek, misogynes, or in later pronunciation, misogynis. There were some words like this, but most still spread via Latin. Latin, demokratia, from ancient Greek, demokratia. This word entered French, and then the French word entered English in the form democracy. Latin, katastropa, from Greek, katastrope, and in later pronunciation, katastrophe. This meant an overturning or a sudden end, originally in a play, but over time its meaning evolved into that of disaster. This word was adopted into English in the form catastrophe in the 1530s. Latin, hyperbole, from ancient Greek, hyperbole, meaning excess or exaggeration. This is the source of the English word hyperbole, meaning exaggerated statements not to be taken literally. Notice the first part of this word, hyper, or hyper in English, meaning over or excessive. You've probably seen this in a lot of different English words. These particular words had existed in Latin since the classical era, but with the Renaissance's renewed passion for classical learning, they were adopted into other European languages. During the Renaissance period and the scientific revolution that followed, some new Latin vocabulary was created using Greek morphemes, which then flowed into other European languages. Latin, psychologia, from ancient Greek, psyche, meaning soul, and logia, or later pronunciation, logia, meaning study of. The word psychology entered the English language in the 1650s. Latin, microscopium, from ancient Greek, mikros, meaning small, and skopeo, meaning to look at. The full word means an instrument for looking at small objects. The word microscope entered English in the 1650s. Some words were also coined in other languages like French and English using Greek morphemes. The French word thermomètre, from Greek thermos, meaning hot or warm, plus French mètre, which also comes from Greek metron, meaning measure, via Latin metrum. The word thermometer entered English in the 1630s. Notice that mètre derived from Greek, but was already fully established in Latin and French. French téléphone, from Greek tele, meaning far, plus French phone, from Greek phone, meaning sound. The word telephone is first attested in English in the year 1835, but originally it meant a device for transmitting sound over distances, but not really a telephone as we know it today. The modern communication device was invented by Alexander Graham Bell in 1876. Numerous words have also been created using a combination of Greek morphemes and fully Latin morphemes, especially in the modern era. The English word television and French télévision, from Greek tele, plus vision and vision, which both came from Latin visio or visio. It's not quite clear whether the English word was borrowed from French or they were coined independently. French automobile, from ancient Greek autos, meaning self, plus mobile, meaning moving, from Latin mobilis, meaning movable. The word automobile entered English in 1883. Words like these continue to be coined up until today. One fairly recent one that comes to mind is antivirus, which was coined in the context of computer science. It came from Greek anti, meaning against, plus virus, which originally came from Latin virus or virus.
That was the biggest scam.
The Greek influence
I remember my dad having to pay for antivirus every time. They still have viruses.
Well, yeah.
Pop-ups were convincing back then.
You have to buy a good one. I mean, you still have nowadays. I guess Windows has it, or I don't know, probably.
European languages has had a global impact beyond the borders of Europe as well.
I think just back then when the computers first came about, there wasn't like a common sense about using computers. You just click on whatever. So now I think maybe people are more aware. It's a little more, although people still get caught. So I don't know.
English is arguably the de facto international language, and languages all over the world have adopted loanwords from English, including some of Greek origin. And lots of pan-European vocabulary related to technology and academic topics has become truly international, and a lot of it has Greek etymology. For example, there's the English word microphone, which comes from ancient Greek mikros, plus phone. But then there's the Japanese word microphone, which was borrowed from English. In Korean there's
마이크로폰,
in Mandarin there's
마이크로폰,
in Indonesian there's mikrofon, which entered Indonesian via Dutch. In Hausa there's makidufo, and so on. There are lots of words like this related to modern technology that have become international words with Greek roots. There's the word telephone, which we saw before traces back to Greek. Then there's Turkish, telefon, which was borrowed from French. Then there's telepono in Tagalog and other Filipino languages, which was borrowed from Spanish. In Yoruba there's telefonu, which was borrowed from English, and so on. There's the word energy, which stems back to ancient Greek energeia, meaning action, act, or work. Then there's the Japanese word energi, one of many medical and scientific terms borrowed into Japanese from German, some of which stem back to Greek, like this one. There's Russian energia, which also got it from German. Then Russian passed it on to several other languages, like Kazakh, Georgian, and others.
Wow.
There's an equivalent word in many languages.
Japanese through
There's the word
Germany. Wow.
boutique, meaning a small shop, which English borrowed from French, but traces back to ancient Greek, apotheke, meaning storehouse. Many European languages have an
They're
How
not
do
the same.
how do we get to boutique from apotheke? No, we do not. Reaching.
equivalent word via Latin, but there's also the Indonesian word apotek, which it got from Dutch apotheek, botica or botica, which means pharmacy in Tagalog, Cebuano, and other Filipino languages, was borrowed from Spanish. The similar word botica in the Creole language papiamento, which is spoken in the Dutch Caribbean, was inherited from either Spanish or Portuguese. There's the English word logic, which traces back to ancient Greek logikos. Then there's also a loanword in Mandarin Chinese.
逻辑
There's the Tagalog and Ilocano word loheja, which it borrowed from Spanish, logica, and so on. There's the English word drama, which traces back to ancient Greek drama, meaning a theatrical act or a play. The English word was borrowed into Japanese as dorama, as in a TV drama, Arabic drama, Indonesian drama, via Dutch drama, Amharic drama, Zulu idrama, and so on.
Amharic.
What are these languages? Zulu,
I know.
Amharic? I've never heard of
Zulu,
this.
I heard of Zulu.
Really? I've never heard of it.
Amharic, I haven't heard of this one.
So far, we've talked about how Greek influenced European languages, which then in turn influenced other languages around the world. But Greek influence also spread through non-European languages as well. In the 4th century BC, Alexander the Great conquered the First Persian Empire, incorporating large parts of the Middle East, North Africa, Central Asia, and the Indus Valley. The lingua franca of that empire was Aramaic, while the language of the elite class and the Persian heartland was Persian. Greek became the new language of the elite and of administration, and it had an influence on the lingua franca Aramaic, both during Alexander the Great's rule and afterwards in the fragmented kingdoms of the Hellenistic period, when heavy Greek influence continued. Some words borrowed from Greek into Aramaic are aratis, meaning paper or papyrus, from ancient Greek kartes, plotya, meaning a street or an open square, from ancient Greek plateia, zog, meaning yoke or pair, from ancient Greek zeugos. These words and some others like them were borrowed from Aramaic into Arabic, kartos, belat, zauj, and Arabic absorbed many more Greek words during the Islamic Golden Age, when many texts were translated from Greek into Arabic. As Islam spread around the world, the Arabic language came with it, greatly influencing the vocabulary of many languages, and that includes some words of Greek origin. One example is the word for paper or papyrus that we saw a moment ago, karatas. It was borrowed into Swahili, karatasi, the Divehi language of Maldives, karudas, Malay and Indonesian, karatas, and the Malay word was borrowed into Khmer, kradah. It was borrowed into the northern Tuareg language, tamahak, as takarade. Then that word was borrowed into numerous languages of Niger and Nigeria, for example Hausa, takarda, and so on. The word falsafa, meaning philosophy, from ancient Greek, philosophia. It's the source of Persian, falsafe, Turkish, falsafe, Malay, falsafa, and Indonesian, filsafat, Swahili, falsafa, Central Atlantic
Sounds like falsify.
list Tamazicht, Thefelsef, and so on.
That's
Kimia, meaning chemistry, originally more like alchemy,
Oh,
from ancient
okay.
Greek, kimia, meaning the art of alloying metals. This is the source of Persian, kimia, Turkish, kimia, Urdu, kimia, and others.
Interesting, like these words we're doing here, I can see how they were deduced, from the Greek word. But if I straight up heard it, I wouldn't make the connection. Like the first 80% of the video is like, okay, you hear the word, okay, you
it
get
makes
you
sense.
you understand what it is. You don't even need explanation. This, like, yeah, kimia, I see it, but I wouldn't think it's, chemistry. It's not the same.
And it was also borrowed into Latin as alchemia, with al being the Arabic definite article, meaning the. The Latin word was then borrowed into many European languages, including English. It's the source of both alchemy and chemistry. The word kalam, meaning pen, from ancient Greek, kalamos, maybe via the ancient Ge'ez language of Ethiopia and Eritrea, in which it meant reed like it did in ancient Greek, kalam. This area was adjacent to the Eastern Roman Empire, and there was Koine Greek influence through trade, and later through the spread of Christianity and translation of the Bible into Ge'ez. After the word entered Arabic, it spread into many languages, so there's Persian, kalem, Swahili, kalamu, Somali, qalin, Turkish, kalem, and similar words in many other Turkic languages, and so on. There's also Hindi and Urdu, kalam, and similar words in other Indo-Aryan languages. These might have come via Arabic, but might have come from Sanskrit, because Sanskrit also had the word kalama, meaning a writing reed, which it adopted from Greek. This is one of a handful of Greek words borrowed into Sanskrit when part of the Indian subcontinent was ruled by the Macedonian Empire, or under the Indo-Greek kingdom, which was part of the Hellenistic period that followed. These are just a few examples.
Wow.
Damn, I didn't know
wow.
Greece had kingdom all the way into India. Wow.
to demonstrate how far and wide Greek vocabulary has spread. When you saw the title
I
of this
wonder if
video,
they
you
saw,
might
like,
have
a
thought
small
that's a
place
huge
that,
overstatement. Greek didn't influence
translates
everything.
Greek.
Well, I guess it's not everything, but it probably has influenced almost every language you've ever heard of, at least a little bit, even if that's through English loanwords or international academic vocabulary. And that's pretty amazing, isn't it?
Can I see the comments?
Yeah, interesting. So the saying is more true when someone says it's all Greek to me.
Oh, I never really heard this
Yeah.
phrase.
I never particularly heard, but I think you can use it like it's
Mm.
all any language to me. So it's all French to me, it's all this
Oh.
to me, it's all that to me. Yeah. Basically, without Greek terminology, doctors couldn't communicate. Greece is a treasure for whole humanity.
That's a cool flex.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, of course, let us know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Join the Discord. Always, always, always share as much kindness as possible.